Good afternoon. The Board of Adjustment is now in session. My name is Anthony Robinson, and I will be chairing today's meeting. Attending today's virtual meeting are board members Deneen Vaughn, Ann Grice, Mel DeSimone, and Jim Dallas. Also in attendance for the city is Mary Hart Burton, Zoning Administrator for the city, Andy Powers, Zoning Plan Reviewer for the city, who will represent the city in the cases we are hearing today, Trey McCarter, Community Development Planner, and Dre Gutierrez, Lead Zoning Specialist. Our attorney for the board is Mia Wood, and our court reporter is Laura Stewart. Today we will be hearing 4 cases. First, we will hear from the city's representative, who will explain why the permit could not be issued. Next, we will hear from the petitioner and their representative. Please be prepared to explain your hardship and answer any inquiries from the board. Then we will hear from those in favor of the appeal and then from those opposed. Please be concise, as testimony will be limited to 3 minutes per person. When you come online via video or telephone, please wait to be sworn in by the court reporter. Then please state your name and mailing address. To ensure proper records for our court reporter, we ask that those online or by telephone to please remain on mute. Following testimony on all of today's cases, the board will go into its deliberative portion of the hearing, at which time we will vote on all cases heard. The board will notify each applicant and or the representative of its decision by mail in about 2 weeks. You're welcome to remain during our deliberations. However, we will not hear additional testimony at that time. You may also call the lead zoning specialist, Drea, tomorrow at 314-622-3666 to learn the outcome of your appeal. Again, that number is 314-622-3666. Drea, will you please read appeal number 20637? Sorry.
Appeal number
Sorry, this is the court reporter. I'm not hearing anything.
We were getting the computers figured out.
Yeah, no worries.
We'll be presenting the first 2 appeals with that evidence. I'm ready whenever you are, Devin.
Sure. I didn't hear the reading of the appeal number.
appeal number
It keeps muting.
Yeah.
Is this appeal number 20637?
appeal number 20637, 5353 Wilson Avenue.
Thank you. Oh. I will now swear in the witness. Please raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm the testimony you give today will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Great. We may begin.
Good afternoon, board members. My name is Trey McCarter, Community Development Planner for the City of St. Louis, representing the Building Commissioner. I'm here to present evidence of an appeal to vary side yard and rear yard setbacks in the A single-family residential district at 5353 Wilson Avenue. Can you all hear me okay? Thanks. Thank you. I'd like to present as evidence for this case photos and aerials of the property, plans for the project, letters of support, and a certified copy of the City of St. Louis zoning ordinance. I'll now read the basis for denial. The basis for denial of the building permit concerning the building commissioner's refusal to issue a permit authorizing the appellant to build at 5353 Wilson Avenue, St. Louis, Missouri 63110, and city block number 4039 is as follows. The present zoning for this address is a single-family dwelling district. The intent of the applicable zoning provisions are to prohibit locations and uses of buildings or structures and uses of land that are incompatible with the type of development planned for specific zoning districts in the city. The applicable zoning code provisions are as follows. Chapter 26.20.070 for side yards. There shall be provided a side yard of not less than 4 feet in width on each side of a building, and the total width of both side yards shall not be less than 10 feet, provided, however, that lots of record prior to the effective date of this zoning code having a width of less than 40 feet may reduce the total side yard width by an amount equal to 1/2 the difference between the width of such lot and 40 feet, but in no case shall either side yard be less than 3 feet in width. Following provision for rear yards is at Chapter 26.20.20.080. There shall be a rear yard of not less than 25 feet in depth. And then Chapter 26.16.020 is for structures prohibited. No structure shall be erected, placed, enlarged, or structurally altered unless such action shall make the premises upon which it shall stand conform to the regulations for the district in which the premises are located, unless authorized by other provisions of the zoning code. Bearing that summary in mind, the applicant is applying for a zoning-only building permit to construct a new single-family residence at the above address that's not compliant with the side or rear yard requirements for the district. For side yards, a minimum of 4-foot setback is required on each side of the building, and the total width of both side yards combined shall not be less than 10 feet. The proposed residence does not meet that combined 10-foot side yard setback. Additionally, a 25-foot rear yard is required, but the proposed building encroaches into the setback by 15 feet, leaving a 10-foot rear yard. Thus, 2 area variances are required. And then lastly, the Planning and Urban Design Agency, hereafter I'll refer to them as PEA, have written a memorandum about how the variance request conforms with the strategic land use plan of the city's comprehensive plan. Planning staff has reviewed appeal number 20637 against the 2025 strategic land use plan, which hereafter I'll refer to as the SLOOP, which is the land use element of the comprehensive plan. There is no adopted neighborhood plan covering this location. Within the 2025 strategic land use plan, the site is located within a medium intensity neighborhood. The designation describes areas of the city that are primarily residential. An explicit goal of the SLOOP is to add density back into neighborhoods and encourage infill development on vacant lots. Staff believes that the approval of this variance would be in keeping with the goals and the general regulations proposed in the SLOOP. So in summary, the PDA staff finds that the request of appeal number 20637 is in keeping with the city's comprehensive plan. Does the board have any questions for me?
I do, Trey, I'm sorry. This is Jim.
Yes, go ahead.
So please clarify how many variances they're asking for. Is it just a total of 2?
Right.
So it's a side yard variance and a rear variance.
That's correct.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, let's hear from the appellant.
I am Mike Killeen, the architect.
Yes, Mike, let's get you sworn in.
Yes, sir.
Please raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm the testimony you give today will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Do you mind spelling your last name for me real fast?
Yes, ma'am. Killeen.
Thank you. We may begin.
Okay, well,
Oh.
I'll try to be brief.
Mike,
Yep,
I'm
yes,
sorry.
sir. You need an
we
address.
also need your name and mailing address for the record.
Yeah, I missed that. Sorry. So mailing
No.
address is 3015 Salina Street, Salena Street, 63118.
Okay, proceed.
Okay. So what you have before you is a home for Barb and Greg Hill. And they are looking to relocate back from West County into the city because they have an extended family with kids and grandkids all living in the Hill. And so they're trying to create a home that would be sort of the centerpiece for that extended family. They would like to age in place and host their kids and families and several generations, including grandkids, live on the Hill, and they're moving back, I mentioned. So the design that we came up with was a first floor dominated design in order to allow them to age in place and also allow them to come up with or have entertainment spaces for their kids. Including in that is an attached garage. That was the big difficulty in this design. To try to meet that setback requirement, yet still give an attached garage really is a difficulty. And you can imagine people who do desire to age in place. A detached garage doesn't make so much sense, but attached could be life-saving in an ice storm or something. So the first floor will also have living, dining, kitchen to entertain that large family. And then they also are into fitness, which is a good way to age in place, to stay fit. So they want to have a sizable lap pool on the site, which you may have noticed on their site plan. But so just to declare the hardship, though, it's really this L-shaped lot. We got pretty close to squeezing all this stuff on there, but it's just that L-shaped lot makes it difficult to get the pool and then spreading out these spaces on the first floor. That's our argument. Had this lot been wider, and you can see in the site plan too, it's tucked around the corner building there, which some odds and ins and outs. So it just makes it difficult to place the program for this building on there. Some other things to point out: the owners desire to have their home that matches the scale of the neighboring houses. They realize that large scale and recent residential projects on the Hill haven't been met with great fanfare. So what they're trying, and they didn't want one either. So they are going for a low scale home. So to do that, that's another reason to have a single story. So that spreads things out a bit. No buildings are being torn down for this project. It's designed to be kind of a humble Tuscan style to blend with the neighborhood and that Italian theme on the Hill. Most of the building is a single story with just a small portion stretches up to 2 stories in the middle of the lot to allow for guest bedrooms and a small fitness room up there. They would like to do quality building materials, including high performance windows from Rivertown or similar. They're going to have a brick or stone facade, a brick/stone facade facing Wilson and also the courtyard. And then everywhere else, the walls will be a high quality painted cement board siding with nice details. They have letters of support from all of their surrounding neighbors and the aldermen. So in summary, if I could just state this, the Hills desire a home that meets the zoning ordinance in every way except these 2 setbacks that are mentioned. They just need a bit more space for their building layout to work due to the odd shape of the lot. The code requires a 25-foot setback and they're requesting 10. The proposed low slung human scale that will be a benefit to the Hill. They plan to make a significant investment in the city to have this home built. We respectfully ask that the board grant approval for this variance, again, due to the odd shaped lot. Thank you.
Any board members have any questions?
Yes, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Clean. Was that me? Sorry. Thank you for Mr. Clean for joining us today.
Thank you.
So can you please maybe the first page of the diagrams that we have? I'm sure you probably know what I'm referring to. It's an overhead of the entire lot. There's a combination dashed and dot line going from left to right on the page. So that would be the 25-foot setback. Is that correct?
Is that a document that the board could display for us to see? Or is that not possible?
What do we call this document, Andy? It's got clean, I believe it's got clean architects on here. Renovations and pardon?
It's,
Planes.
it's, so Mike, that would be sheet one.
Yes.
So there's a combination dashed and dotted line running parallel to the alley. Is that what would be normally be the 25-foot setback?
The one that's closer to the alley is the 10-foot, and then the 25-foot goes right through the building. It is
Okay.
shown there. Yes, sir.
Okay, and then the side yard along the Macklin side, similar. Is that where you're going over the line over there?
It's interesting, and zoning can correct me on this if I've got it wrong, but I think on Mackland, we're actually encouraged to have a 0 setback line there to match the commercial on that street. So I think we're okay there. It's more the pinch point up at Wilson, where the house is closer to Wilson Avenue, where we've got 4 feet on one side and I believe 4 feet on the other. So,
Okay, so that's the side yard variance that's being requested.
yes, sir.
Hey,
Board Member Dallas, Andy had
Yes.
a comment he wanted
yeah,
to
I
add
was
to
gonna
that.
clarify that. So being that it's like this L shape where it fronts on Wilson and Macklin separately, that part of the lot that goes along Macklin, that would be subject to a front yard setback. And then that part that's like next to the building, facing Wilson, that's where the side yard is. And those two side yards being the one to the east on Wilson, to the west on Wilson, those have to add up to 10, and they're 1 foot short of that.
Okay, 1 foot short. Okay. All right, thank you for clarifying where the variances are being requested.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Colleen, maybe this question for the Hills, but I did not see a letter from 5355 Wilson. You mentioned that you had support from all neighbors around. Maybe I missed it, but is there a letter from the neighbors at 5355? And like I said, I could wait to ask the Hills that once they get sworn in.
Oh, I think they'd enjoy answering that question, so I'll give it to them if you don't mind.
Okay. That's all I had. Just wanted to clarify and then bring up the point about the any letters of support.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Any other board members have any questions? Okay, is there anyone here to testify in favor of this appeal? Vivian,
Yes.
let's you sworn in.
Okay.
Please raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm the testimony you give today will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Great.
Okay, can you state your name and mailing address for the record?
Yes, my name is Vivian Walter. My mailing address is 3219 Halliday Avenue, 63118. Am I good to proceed?
Mhm.
Okay. I am the legislative assistant for 5th Ward Alderman Matt Devotie. Of course, this application is for property in the Hill, so this is our neck of the woods. But on behalf of the alderman, I'm speaking in support of this appeal. We've already submitted a letter of support. So I'll try to keep this brief, but our office has reviewed the application and site plans. We've seen the configuration of the lot, and we believe that this request stems from a legitimate practical difficulty that's created by this property's unique configuration. The applicants have worked through the city's permitting process in good faith, exercised due diligence through this project. It's the office's belief that the requested rear and side yard variances are reasonable accommodations, considering the configuration of the lot, and don't believe that this threatens the character of the neighborhood. And granting this appeal I believe would not undermine the purpose of the zoning code as it was written. As like I said, I believe it doesn't threaten the character of the neighborhood. It doesn't create an adverse impact on neighboring properties. So for all those reasons, I respectfully ask that on behalf of the Fifth Ward Alderman in our office, that the board give favorable consideration to the application for these appeals. So thank you.
Any board members have any questions? Thank you, Ms. Walter.
Thank
Is
you.
there anyone else here to testify in favor of this appeal? Mr. Hill, let's get you sworn in.
Please raise your right hand. Oh, where are you?
My name is Gregory Hill.
I'm
You-
sorry,
You are
Mr.
right.
Hill. No,
Hold on.
not ready yet.
Okay.
Sorry.
I'll now swear in the witness. Please raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm the testimony you give today will be the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Great. We may begin.
Okay. Now, if you could state your name and mailing address.
Thank you. Once again, my name is Gregory Hill, Hill. Mailing address 11701 Lakeshore Drive, 63141. So first of all, I'd like to thank Mr. Robinson and the board for hearing our appeal. And as Mr. Killeen stated, we are enamored with the city and wish to move back for a number of reasons. First of all, I have a history of being there and working there in the 80s and 90s for a period of 9 years. And we've always had some desire to come back, but now we have 3 children who are living on the Hill, 2 of which are already homeowners, and all 6 of our grandchildren are on the Hill. I come from an extended family, the youngest of many siblings, and we wish to be able to entertain those folks for birthdays and family gatherings and so on. As Mike described, the lot is sort of unusual in that it is this L shape, and in order to incorporate the things that we wish to have in the house, we need to be very creative, and yet we really went to great pains to create something that was in keeping with the neighborhood and that would be favorable to the neighbors. So we met with all of the neighbors around the both residential and businesses, the restaurant behind us, the daycare across the street from us. Of course, I had several discussions with Mr. Devotie, and there was a lot of discussion back and forth that we did everything we could to try to appease the neighbors because we wish to be a good neighbor. We want to invest in the city. We're excited about that possibility, and we think adding this home to this vacant lot will be favorable for everyone. Mr. Dallas had the question about 5355 Wilson, and that property is owned by my wife and I and our 2 oldest children and their spouses, who I mentioned are homeowners already on the Hill. So that's a place that we use for family gatherings right now, essentially next door. In a nutshell, that's our desire to be back in the city, to be with family, to be good neighbors, be participants in the neighborhood. And we think we have gone out of our way to do something that will not inconvenience the neighbors, and it will be aesthetically pleasing. It will not be a safety concern, and that's our desire.
Any board members have any questions? Yes, Jim.
Thank you, Mr. Hill. That was quite helpful. Just to clarify, your wife and children are owners of Preservation Hill LLC.
That is correct. Yes,
Okay. All right, thank you.
you're welcome.
Any other board members have any questions? Thank you, Ms. Gabriel.
Thank you.
Is there anyone else here to testify in favor of this appeal? Okay, is there anyone here to testify in opposition to this appeal? Uh, Hearing none, I will read into the record exhibits, certified copy of the zoning ordinance, appeal to the board, basis of denial, meeting notice letter, City Journal public notices, photographs, Sanborn maps, memo from Planning and Urban Design, letter of support from Alderman Matt Devotie, and 6 letters of support submitted by the petitioner. And with that, I will consider this appeal having been heard. Drea, will you please read appeal number 20638? Okay, so Andy, Trey, both of you all are muted, so we cannot hear Drea.
20638 5203 Windsor Parkway.
Thank you. Devin, you will need to swear in Trey again.
Sorry, my screen only pops people up when they start talking, so I didn't know that there was someone ready to be sworn in. Sorry about that. Do you swear or you're good? Do you swear or affirm the testimony you give today will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Great. You may begin.
Thank you. Good afternoon, board members. My name is Trey McCarter, Community Development Planner for the City of St. Louis, representing the Building Commissioner. I'm here to present evidence of an appeal to vary the use of a parcel in the A single-family residential district from residential to outdoor storage to operate a parking lot at 5203 Windsor Parkway. I'd like to present as evidence for this case photos and aerials of the property, plans for the project, letters of support, and a certified copy of the City of St. Louis zoning ordinance. Basis for denial of Kong Properties LLC concerning the building commissioner's refusal to issue an occupancy permit authorizing the petitioner to operate a storage outside at 5203 Windsor Parkway and City Block number 5587 is as follows. Present zoning for this address is a single-family dwelling district. The intent of the applicable zoning provisions are to conserve the values of property throughout the City of St. Louis and protect the character and stability of residential, business, and industrial areas. and also to regulate and restrict the location and use of buildings, structures, and land for trade, industry, residence, and other uses, and to regulate and restrict the intensity of such uses. The applicable zoning code provisions are as follows. Chapter 26.16.010, uses prohibited. No structure or land shall be used for a use other than those permitted in the district in which such premises are located unless such use is permitted by other provisions of the zoning code. Evidence of lawful nonconformity has not been presented. So the applicant, Kong Properties LLC, which is the owner of the adjacent commercial property to the west, addressed as 5200 through 5208 South Kings Highway Boulevard, has purchased the subject property and has applied for an occupancy permit for a parking lot for vehicles used in association with the business on South Kings Highway. A parking lot is not a permitted use in a residential district, requiring one use variance. Similar to the last application, the Planning and Urban Design Agency, PDA, has provided a memorandum to assist the Zoning Board of Adjustment in executing their duties as outlined in ordinance number 71412, specifically to the granting of the variances in keeping with the city's comprehensive plan, and a finding regarding the appeal's consistency with the comprehensive plan has been provided by the city's Planning and Urban Design Agency. Planning staff has reviewed appeal number 20638 against the 2025 Strategic Land Use Plan, the land use document of the comprehensive plan. There is no adopted neighborhood plan covering this area. Under the 2025 Strategic Land Use Plan, this loop, the site is located within a medium intensity neighborhood. These areas are primarily residential with limited commercial activities such as smaller retail and offices and corner commercial spaces. This designation discourages most uses which are incompatible with residential neighborhoods and a vibrant pedestrian environment. This includes warehousing. The granting of this variance would not be in keeping with this designation's intent of supporting mostly residential uses and a pedestrian-oriented environment. So the planning staff finds that the request for appeal number 20638 is not in keeping with the city's comprehensive plan. Does the board have any questions for me?
Okay, let's hear from the appellant.
So this is Mark with Garcia.
Hi, Mark. Do you have video?
Yeah.
Thank you. Let's get you sworn in.
Please raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm the testimony you give today will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Great, may I begin?
All
Okay.
right. So
Actually, Mark, can I get your name and mailing address for the record?
yes, it is Mark Megapora, and address is 3537 South Kings Highway, St. Louis, Missouri, 63139.
Okay, proceed.
So I'm essentially the owner's representative, and so I'm helping facilitate this application. The owners, as the applicant, are on this call as well. They're Lindsay and Jason, and so they could probably add a lot more after I kind of provide a brief overview. But this application is to help relieve some congestion for their business, which is essentially across the alley from this property. Windsor Parkway is essentially an alley with kind of like a wedge shaped area. And their business, which is an automotive repair business, is 5208 South Kings Highway. And so that is, been there for a long time in terms of the type of business. And they've had problems with congestion in terms of having their employees park on the premises. And They essentially are applying to keep the congestion out of the neighbors' parking areas, whether that be the street or the alley. So that area along with Windsor Parkway essentially is a parking lot for the neighbors as well. There are parking spaces back there, and so that parking area that they are requesting is at the rear of the property that faces the alley essentially, and so it's not visible from the street from the park side of the property. It's also not visible from Kings Highway either. And so we think it would essentially be compatible to have that parking in that area without kind of taking away from the pedestrian or residential aspect of the neighborhood. And the owners have reached out to the neighbors and they've received a letter of support as well as the alderman as well. So that is the kind of a brief overview. As far as the specifics of that parking area, there are some small accessory buildings, a garage that have been demolished in preparation. And then the area itself, I would call it less of a parking lot. It's not really going to operate as a public parking lot. It is essentially just parking directly for that business. And that's essentially it. So the owners can kind of speak more specifically on the day-to-day in terms of how this would help alleviate the congestion for the business and on keeping it out of the neighborhood. So if there are any questions, I'd be happy to answer them or turn it over to the owners if that's okay.
Any board members have any questions?
Anthony, I guess, Andy, would this go, since it's a parking lot, a private parking lot, does it still need to be striped and all that stuff?
Mary?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And thank you, Mel, for your question. That was a question that I had for Mark. I think I heard him testify that they paved the lot, and I was wondering if they obtained a permit to do that.
Yes, we did obtain a permit. Essentially,
So what address did you get that permit under? Because I'm searching for it and I can't find it.
it would have been 5203 Windsor Parkway.
Yeah, I don't see a building permit for a parking lot there. Is possibility there could have been another address used?
Well, since it's a residential lot, it may have been just like a demolition permit because we were told that essentially a parking pad a flat work doesn't require a permit. So we applied for the demolition of the accessory buildings and noted the parking pad, but it may not have been processed as a building permit because it was considered flat work.
Okay.
But we did submit it.
So what happens inside of the residential structure that appears to still be on the site?
That would be untouched. That would remain residential, and owners would essentially operate it as a rental property.
And is it occupied at the moment?
I don't know that question right now. That would be the answer for the owners.
So if the home is intended to be used as residential, it's going to require at least one off-street parking space. Just because you're using the rear parking lot to satisfy another need doesn't mean that you can take the parking away from the residential use.
And That would be the case, though. They would have designated off-street parking for the residential.
Okay. And then according to the application, it says that this is going to be for employee parking for a business that you have on an adjoining lot. So will that only be operable cars driven by the employees? We wouldn't expect to see any cars waiting to be worked on parked in this lot?
Yes, it's an application for employee parking. It's, I don't know the exact business hours right now, but I would follow up with the owners for that question. But yes, that is what we're applying for.
Okay, thank you.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Sorry, sir, what was your last name? It's not Garcia. What was your last name?
It's Mangapora.
Okay, thank you, Mr. I'll try to say it, Megapore. So where are the cars that are being worked on parked currently?
The owners, so the business is at 5208 South Kings Highway, which is across the Windsor Parkway. And so that it's an L-shaped building, and it has parking essentially on that site. And they also own the properties to the north as well. And so they also demolished an accessory building on the adjacent Kings Highway property as well to expand the essentially, the cars that are being worked on their direct premises.
Okay. And these are properties that, as far as you know, I can ask the Donahue's this, Gallahue's. Kong Properties is, I see three properties that are three parcels owned by Kong Properties.
Yeah, that's correct.
Okay, I think that's all that I have for now, Anthony. Thank you.
Yep.
Any other board members have any questions?
Well, we didn't quite get the question answered, or Mary didn't have a chance to clarify whether that would normally be striped spots. There's about 6 to 8 spots, I think, back there on that pad, from what I could tell when I drove by the other day.
So I think it would be appropriate to consider, if the board decides to grant this, a condition that requires the applicant to stripe the lot and to conform with the parking lot dimensions in the zoning code, and that will determine how many cars can be parked on the lot.
Okay. Thank you for that suggestion.
Yeah.
Any other board members? Thank you, Mark. Is there anyone here to testify in favor of this appeal? Mr. Gallagher, let's get you sworn in.
Do you swear or affirm the testimony you give today will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Great. May I begin?
Mr. Gallagher, let's get your name and mailing address for the record.
Jason Gallagher, and 5208 South Kings Highway, 63109.
Okay, proceed.
So it's more, I would say, a parking pad than a parking lot. Like Mr. Dallas said, there's about 6 or 7 parking spots there. If anyone knows where the old Niebling Auto Repair on South Kings Highway was, they've been there 80 or 90 years. We purchased that back in 2020. We've become pretty busy, so there is a lot of congestion right there. we would use this parking pad for our employee parking or 5 spots. And then the home is going to be rented out. It's actually being renovated currently. So the house won't be torn down. We're not taking away any housing or anything like that, but it'll be rented out. And we will allow 2 parking spots for whoever rents the house. There is a possibility that a couple of our mechanics were asking about maybe renting the house. They could be next door to work. We will not have any derelict vehicles back there. Anytime there's derelict vehicles, we try to have them towed out as soon as possible. That wedge that we're in there is a very nice neighborhood. We try to keep it nice. We try to be good neighbors. I think this would help relieve some of the congestion. It is a concrete pad that we had poured, not asphalt. But if you'd like us to stripe it, that would help. We have no problems doing so.
And to be clear, Mr. Gallagher, you would not have any of the cars outside of your employees parked there, or the obviously the renter.
Correct. We do have a couple loaner vehicles for our customers. If we could park those there, would be great. Also, if not, we'll work around that. That's not a big deal. And we do auto repair. We're not a car sales. We don't sell any cars, so we wouldn't have cars for sale or trashy vehicles laying around. So.
Yes, Mary.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Gallahue, do you have any plans to have any sort of lighting on that parking lot that might, interfere with the neighbor's window or something like that?
No, we actually had some motion lights put on the back of our auto repair building and this has been a couple years, and then motion cameras back there also. Some of the neighbors had asked us if we wouldn't mind doing that. Just that way it does kind of keep it lit up back there. It would be a good spot for riffraff to congregate if there were not lights back there. So we wouldn't add any additional, but there are a couple motion lights on the back of the building currently.
Thank you.
No problem.
Any board members have any questions? Yes, Joe.
I was just going to ask Trey and Mary and Andy, would there be any standard conditions we would want to read that would be applicable to this that we might want to consider once we get to deliberation?
There are always the miscellaneous standards in the back of the book that you can look at to see if any of those apply. And then we actually have some parking lot standards. I'll just, I don't know if they would be applicable or not, but for parking lots, the standard conditions we have are petitioner must obtain the proper permits from the City of St. Louis Building Division for any proposed signage on this location. The petitioner must apply for and receive a permit from the City of St. Louis Building Division before posting signage, and the signage must be professionally prepared and approved by the zoning administrator before being installed. And number 3, the petitioner shall provide a refuse container on the exterior of the premises for use by the customers and shall be emptied on a daily basis or more if needed. If another container is needed due to the level of business, it shall also be provided. So you can see that those conditions are really tailored more for a commercial parking lot. It might be worth asking the applicant if they did intend to install any signage.
That's going to be my next question. Do you have any intent to install any signage?
We do not. We don't plan on putting any signage there, and our dumpster for the business is pretty close since it's a shared alley. It's probably 25, 30 feet away. So pretty close right there. There shouldn't be any reason anyone has any trash over there either.
Okay. So as we consider conditions, it doesn't sound like you would have a problem if we put down a condition that you stripe it using standard widths and for vehicles, that you would restrict 2 of the spots for your residents. And don't think, well, we might, and we may consider whether we could allow you to put your loaner vehicles on that lot. Those would seem to be the 3 things that would be acceptable.
Sorry, yes, sir. Sorry, our dogs just busted in the room. They were supposed to be locked.
Okay. All right. So I just some affirmation that those 3 items seem to be would be acceptable if we go down that path.
Yes, sir.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Denise,
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Good afternoon, Mr. Gallahue. I have a question. I see that there is an email that was written to the Alder on June the 29th. Have you heard from the Alder yet?
Yes, he did send in a letter of his support as well as Ben, who is one of our neighbors. I can provide a copy of that if you'd like that, Ms. Vaughn.
Okay, I think that'd be great. I mean, I think this is a great opportunity for you guys. I think it's really cool. Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Do you have that letter from the alderman, the support?
I do. Would you like me to email it or share it here?
No, you'll have to. Andy, can you put the email address in there? That way we can read it into the record.
yeah, Mr. Gallagher.
Chairman Robinson, I have the letter here. I can read it in.
Okay, that's great.
Excellent. So it's regarding a letter of support for the occupancy permit 13432-26 for Kong Properties LLC, 5203 Windsor. It says, "Dear Ms. Burton, please let this letter evidence my support to Lindsay Gallahue in care of Kong Properties LLC, located at 5203 Windsor Parkway, St. Louis, Missouri. She is seeking an occupancy permit to have outside storage to operate a parking lot, which will be used for their employee parking for their business on the adjoining lot. Mrs. Gallahue owns Fairway Automotive and needs additional parking. It will relieve some of the parking issues in the neighborhood. They did receive support from the neighbors, as this will alleviate some of the parking congestion. I look forward to seeing Kong Properties LLC project take shape. It will greatly benefit the area. Therefore, I'm in full support of this project. Should you have any questions, please feel free to contact me at 314-589-6813. Thank you for your consideration. Sincerely, Tom Oldenburg, 2nd Ward Alderman."
Thanks, Andy.
Any of the board members have any questions? Thank you, Mr. Gallagher. Is there anyone else here to testify in favor of this appeal? Kevin, looks like you were waving and you're muted.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yes. Yes. Okay.
All right, my right hand, Kevin Pona.
Do you swear or affirm the testimony you give today will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Great, might be good.
Okay.
I live at 5216 South Kings Highway Boulevard. My name's Kevin Pona. I'm in favor of this. We've watched the alley parking back there kind of grow over the years, but yeah, we've seen in the past few weeks, we've seen some great improvement, and we'd like to see that continue. Granted, the lighting is minimal, and the security cameras go forward, and we do appreciate the salting in the winter as well. So, thank you for that.
Any board members have any questions? Thank you, Kevin. Is there anyone else here to testify in favor of this appeal? Okay, is there anyone here to testify in opposition to this appeal?
Bruce?
Yeah, ma'am.
Chris?
Yes.
Yeah, well, let's get you
All right.
sworn in.
Please raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm the testimony you give today will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Great. We may begin.
Okay, can you state your name and mailing address for the record?
My name is Chris, Chris D. Palma, and my mailing address is 6571 Murdoch Avenue, St. Louis 63109.
Okay, proceed.
Well, I'd like to introduce myself as the prior owner of this residential property. I inherited the property along with my two sisters when my mom passed away in November. Our family has occupied that property as a residential property for 62 years. And the reason that my family bought that property was because it was adjacent to the park. It was a family neighborhood, and the neighbors were amazing. I'm here to represent neighbors, and I guess it's a different group of neighbors than that you are speaking about already who are in favor of this. But there are several neighbors who we know well who are not in favor of it because this property was sold as a residential property. It is zoned as a residential property. We intended it as when we sold this to continue to be a residential property. It is now operating as a commercial property. It is operating like that right now. This morning I drove by, there were 12 cars on that parking lot. And by the way, that's a false statement that you cannot see this from South Kings Highway. Because if you come down South Kings Highway and you look east, all you can see is this parking lot in front of a residential home. Now, I agree completely with the planning and urban design gentleman who spoke earlier that this is a residential property and it should remain as such. When we sold the property, we understood, excuse me, that the property would be used for rental property. And we did understand that some of the parking in the back, there was one parking spot in the back per code. There was a garage that was used. There was an outbuilding that was actually a historic building. It was a chicken house. It was the farm. This is the farmhouse for the neighborhood. And that was demolished, which was kind of sad on a residential property because it was actually in good shape. And so I think my point of why the neighbors that we are talking to and have a concern about this is that, we are in a city that needs to remain, this is a park-like environment. This is a row of houses where people bought these houses for the park. They didn't necessarily buy them for, the look of the house, or that they love the idea of the park surrounding the house. And to take that house and to turn it into a commercial property, it's kind of sad in my opinion. And actually, it's not zoned as commercial, and that's why this was denied in the first place. It's not a commercial property. Now, if they want to park a couple cars back there, yeah, but they literally took the entire backyard out, took the fence out, took a garden area out, took a historic building out, took an operating garage out, and put a parking pad where this morning I saw 12 cars. So that's why I'm here. I did note that there was a sign posted on the telephone pole, which is, it's a requirement. It's a public notice. When I went by this morning, it was torn down. That makes me kind of frustrated that other neighbors may not have been able to see this to come by this hearing and talk. Just in my opinion, it's gotten too big and it's gone a little bit too far. I propose that this property stay as a residential property, maintain the integrity of that, maintain the neighborhood. You know, I love our city parks. I love that neighborhood with all my heart. It's where I grew up. I grew up in that home. And I would just like to see it remain a residential property and not a commercial property. And as far as striping the lot, I get the regulations about that, but if you stripe that lot, does that not just call out commercial to you? Like, that's a commercial parking lot in front of a residential home on a piece of property that is zoned residential. So anyway, I hope you hear what I have to say, and I really appreciate your time.
I have a couple of questions for you.
Sure.
When you sold the property, were there any deed restrictions on that? Did you make it any deed restrictions saying it had to remain residential?
No, we did not.
Okay, and if we did ask them to stripe it, it would actually keep them from having 12 cars on a lot, because if it doesn't stripe for 12, then they can only have, let's say it only stripes for 6 or 7, that's all they're going to be able to have there.
But on the flip side of that, if you stripe that lot, it's going to make it even more visible from South.
I live in the
Highway.
neighborhood. I live 3 blocks away.
Oh, do you? Okay, so you've seen it.
I'm very familiar with what's going on there.
Okay.
That's all I have.
Okay.
Mary?
Mr. Palmer,
Hold on just a second, Jim. Mary?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This comment is for Ms. De Palma. I'm sorry if I pronounced that wrong, but I just wanted to make a comment about striping versus not striping the lot. Striping the lot ensures that the parking spaces are the appropriate size, and it really does limit the number of cars that can be parked there. Without striping the lot, without that condition on there, there could be the risk that the lot could be completely filled with cars. I'm not trying to say what's good or what's not good. I'm just wanting to give you an explanation about why striping the lot could help as opposed to hinder the project.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Jim?
Mr. Palmer, would you say that you're representing some neighbors on Windsor or on South Kings Highway? You say you're here representing some. You haven't submitted anything in writing, have you? But generally, who would you say you're representing?
I am representing neighbors on Windsor Parkway.
Mary, did you find any references to any kind of permits that were sought or received for that parking pad or the parking lot, whatever it is called, was constructed?
No, I did not.
Can I ask a question? Is there any type of ordinance or regulations if, I mean, let's just be frank, this is a residential property. Is there regulations of what size of a quote parking lot can be built on that residential property and used? Is there a size limit?
There is no, the zoning code doesn't address parking by the size of the parking lot. The zoning code addresses parking based on the zoning district you're in and how many spaces you're required to provide. So right now we have a residential property with a single family house on it, and the zoning code requires there to be 1 parking space per residential unit. So whatever they do in the back, regardless of how this variance, they would still have to provide that one parking space for the residential use, as long as they intend on using that for residential. The number of parking spaces that can go on the part that is paved as the parking lot for the employees, again, that will be determined by striping according to the size of the parking space in the zoning code. So to summarize, the code addresses the size of the parking space you can have. The code addresses the number of parking spaces you are to provide, but it does not say that a parking lot must be 25 feet by 40 feet. I'm just using those numbers as an example.
I have one more question. Are any of you aware of any other properties in that area or in South City that are residential properties that are being used as residential homes with a commercial parking lot behind them?
I froze up. Is that a question for me?
Yes.
Well,
Okay.
Anthony, are you?
I cannot tell you. That would take some research, but I cannot tell you that on the spot at this time. How many other houses in that area may have a parking lot behind them?
You were making a statement, Jim?
Well, I just wanted to pose this to you. I'm a little curious, and thank you, Ms. Palma. This question is not for you. I'm just a little curious about the evolution of the backyard and the fact that we can't find any permits. I don't know if we could delve in more of that without getting the appellants back on the line, but that would be up to you. But that was just some things that are popping up in my head as we're listening to the testimonies.
Sure. I have one question regarding that, but not so much as we will get Mark back on the line, and I see he has his hand raised. Before we do that, Andy has his hand raised as well.
Yeah, so I just wanted to, maybe this is an answer to what Mark is going to say, but also an answer to Jim. So Mr. Mangapore was correct in that it's not the zoning code, it's the building code that does not require a permit for residential flat work. There is a statute of what determines that. I'm not exactly sure what that is. But that's the reason why we don't have a permit for any existing parking lot that is there now. There's the demolition permit, which is also outside of zoning. But the paving of a residential lot is not a requirement for a building permit.
Okay,
So
thank you for that.
yeah, Jim, I was going to. I understood that to be the case. Now, for Mr. Mangapore, my question is, did you come up with a set of plans that to show where this parking lot was going to be located and how much of it is taking up the rear yard?
Yeah, we did submit a plan that showed the demolition and the extent of the parking pad. It was, and that's correct, that I think it was just classified as demo only because the building department doesn't issue permits for the parking pad. But the drawing that we did submit for the demolition and the parking pad was kind of all in one. And so there was a drawing that was filed with the city that showed that.
So we do not have that. Can you give me an idea of how that parking pad impacts the site?
It's essentially located along the rear of the property, along the rear width of the property. And it is, yeah, it's at the alley. And we didn't provide essentially like striped parking for it. We just kind of indicated control joints on there as, a typical parking pad. So.
And so from the alley, how far east does that parking pad intrude into the rear yard?
Essentially the depth of the parking pad?
Yes.
Is 40 feet deep.
Anthony, I have a question for Mary.
Go ahead, Jeff.
Mary, if this was if it was permitted as commercial, would it be under different regulations than as a parking pad? Let's say I put a parking pad in my back house. Is it different than if I have a commercial use for it? Does it require different permits?
Well, if you were pouring a parking pad for your house, I guess it depends on when you were doing that, after you built the house or at the same time you were.
Let's say right now, just if I had my house and I was going to put a parking pad out back. But so what they did is they're saying is everything was done under a residential. The other guys that were residential demolition and stuff.
I don't know that I can answer the question because you have to understand, I don't know what they submitted for the demolition permit. I don't even have access to look at the demolition permit, which is what I've been trying to do right now, but I've discovered I don't have access to demolition permits on my computer. So I don't know what they presented. What I do know is that this board could put a condition on there like we have on many other items, requiring them to stripe the lot and to provide that plan to the Office of the Zoning Administrator prior to this permit being issued.
So basically the pad's already been poured.
Yes, it appears to be in the pictures, at least as far as I can tell. It looks like a concrete pad to me.
Okay, thank you.
I drove by it. It looks like a concrete pad to me. So there's definitely a concrete pad. And we would submit that, require them to submit it to whom, Mary, if we require that?
So I can read the way the condition is worded. If you guys would like for me to, it says the entire parking/vehicle display area on the exterior of the premises shall be paved and striped. Parking shall be striped so as to substantially conform to the width and depth layout standards for parking spaces as provided for in section 26.16.080D of the zoning code. And parking spaces shall be arranged in a manner so as to provide easy access to all vehicles on the lot. Parking lot space layout shall be submitted to and approved by the zoning administrator before beginning striping.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
So Mr. Bangapur, looks like this lot takes up about 50% of the rear yard. What was the purpose of that?
other than parking? Or
So I guess what I'm trying to determine here, it looks like,
yeah, I can say that we didn't have a striped parking plan submitted, so well, we weren't laying arranging essentially parking stalls on there. So it is drawn like or laid out a little flexible, and so I think we'd be happy to kind of submit a layout that complies with the zoning code's parking requirements to determine a maximum number of vehicles.
okay. Any of the board members have any questions? Okay. Is there anyone else here to testify in opposition to this appeal? Hearing none, I will read into the record exhibits. Certified copy of the zoning ordinance, appeal to the board, basis of denial, meeting notice letter, city journal public notices, photographs, Sanborn maps, memo from planning and urban design, letter of support from Benjamin Williams, copy of email from owners to aldermen requesting support submitted by Mark Singapore, and a letter of support from the alderman that was read into the record. And with that, I will consider this appeal having been heard. Freya, will you please read appeal number 20639?
I'm sorry, before we move on, just want to confirm, did you all want a copy of the plans that were associated with the permit? Because I do have access. I just didn't know if that's what you all need. Just put it out there. I have access. I can provide a copy if needed. And Mary, I think you can register.
Yeah, I just saw your email. Thank you.
Sure.
Mary, can you share that out?
Yes,
Or
I will send that to, I believe that either Dre or Andy as the administrator would have to do that. So I will send that to him right now.
you all just want all the documents that were associated with that permit? But I just sent over the plans.
Sure.
And I apologize.
I'm glad for access.
I just emailed those documents over to the zoning email address.
Okay. All right. Have the site plan. Should I just describe it, or
Can you email that to the board?
okay. Okay. I will.
Mr. Gallagher, do you have a question? You cannot give additional testimony beyond a question for the board.
My question, sorry, this is my first time doing this. Yeah. My question was, there is a letter from one of the neighbors. I didn't know if that should be read or if we can ask for that to be read, or if that even matters at this point.
It's in our packet.
Okay, not a problem at all. Thank you.
Okay, so Dre is working on forwarding that to all the board members. Okay. If you sent it, should be in your inboxes any minute now.
I just received mine.
That's good. That's nightmare.
Okay. I will add to exhibits a copy of the site plan submitted by email And with that, I will consider this appeal having been heard. Drea, will you please read appeal number 20639?
Okay, go ahead.
Appeal number 20639, 1411 Dolman Street.
Do you swear or affirm the testimony you give today will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Great.
Good afternoon, board members. My name is Andy Powers, zoning plan examiner for the City of St. Louis, representing the building commissioner. I'm here to present evidence of an appeal for an addendum for exterior alterations at 1411 Dolman Street. I'd like to present as evidence for this case photos and aerials of the property, plans for the project, and a certified copy of the City of St. Louis zoning ordinance, as well as an email with photos from the City of St. Louis Cultural Resources Office. The basis of denial of a building permit concerning the building commissioner's refusal to issue a permit authorizing the appellant to build at 1411 Dolman Street in St. Louis, Mo. 63104 in City Block 1255.00 is as follows. The present zoning for this address is B, two-family dwelling district. The intent of the applicable zoning provisions are to conserve the values of property throughout the City of St. Louis and protect the character and stability of residential business, and industrial areas, and regulate and restrict the location and use of buildings, structures, and land for trade, industry, residence, and other uses, and to regulate and restrict the intensity of such uses. The applicable zoning code provisions are as follows. 26.24.050 front yard. The front yard regulations are the same as those in the A single family dwelling district. 26.20.060 front yard regulations in A. When 25% of any frontage within the district is improved with dwellings, and a majority of such improved frontage has an observed front yard line with a variation in depth of not more than 6 feet, no building hereafter shall construct, no building.
Sorry, this is the court reporter, Mr. Powles. You're breaking up. Oh, is everyone frozen?
All
Mr.
other cases,
Powers?
there shall be a front yard line of not.
I'm sorry, Mr.
I'm sorry,
Powers.
and, you actually broke up. You will probably have to go back about 30 to 45 seconds and repeat.
All right. I will restart at the zoning code provisions. The applicable zoning code provisions are as follows. 26.24.050 front yard. Front yard regulations are the same as those in the A single family dwelling district. 26.20.060 front yard in the A single family dwelling district. When 25% of any frontage within the district is improved with dwellings and a majority of such improved frontage has an observed front yard line with a variation in depth of not more than 6 feet, no building hereafter constructed shall project beyond the average front yard line so established, except that in no event shall the front yard line be greater than 50 feet. In all other cases, there shall be a front yard line of not less than 25 feet. Through lots shall have a front yard on each street in accordance with this section. On corner lots, the frontage shall be on that side of a street on which interior lots have been platted. No accessory building shall project beyond such front yard line. In summary, the applicant has applied for an addendum to the building permit AB 584410 issued November 17th, 2025, in which it was planned for a 5-foot setback per Exhibit I. The plans submitted for the addendum identify front setbacks of 19 feet and 19 feet 8 inches for the 2 attached homes. The existing buildings in the zoning district observe a front yard line of 8'2" as identified on the site plan. Additionally, the Planning and Urban Design Agency for the City of St. Louis has written a memorandum for this Board of Adjustment appeal in order to assist the Zoning Board of Adjustment in executing their duties as outlined in Ordinance 71412. Planning staff has reviewed the appeal 20639 against the strategic land use plan, the land use element of the comprehensive plan. There is no adopted neighborhood plan covering this location. The site is located within a medium intensity neighborhood in the 2025 SLOOP. This designation describes areas of the city that are primarily residential. An explicit goal of the SLOOP is to add density back into neighborhoods and encourage infill developments on vacant lots. Staff believes that the approval of this variance would be in keeping with the goals and the regulations proposed in the SLOOP. Planning staff finds the request of appeal 20639 is in keeping with the city's comprehensive plan. Are there any questions from the board?
Andy?
Yes, Jim.
So please clarify, how many variances are they seeking? It's all frontage variances?
So it is a single lot with 2 attached homes, so townhome. It would be 1 front yard or 1 area variance for the front yard.
Thank you.
Any other board members have any questions? Okay, let's hear from the appellant. Mr. Mayoko.
Yep.
Let's get you sworn in.
Please raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm the testimony you give today will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Great. Maybe.
Okay. Can you state your name and mailing address for the record?
Sure. Maya Yolokun, 2026 South 12th Street, St. Louis, Missouri, 63104.
Proceed.
Thanks for having me. So the setback that was approved, as stated by Mr. Andier, was huge error on our end. When the excavation was done, the excavation was done with a setback that was farther than what was approved. When I was actually out of the country at that point, and when I came back, the foundation was already poured, and we realized the setback was farther than what was approved because there was a mistake made by the excavation and the foundation crew that did the work. And when we realized that, we started discussions around figuring out, putting an addendum out to kind of change that. I met with the neighborhood association. They mentioned that it's really not much they could do with the foundation, but there were a couple of other things that they wanted us to remedy. So the front part of the house now, what they asked about the plans, we said we're going to do some landscaping to make it look intentional. So we'll be working with a landscaping company to kind of make that front landscape, and then have a wrought iron fence in front of the building to make it look intentional. So wrought iron fence with gates, and also landscaping behind the wrought iron fence to make the setback being pushed farther look intentional. So I've agreed to that from what the neighborhood required or would like to see. There's a couple of other things that they mentioned, all of which was totally fine by me, and we'll make sure we do that. But I think the big part of this appeal is the error of the crew who did the excavation, or essentially my error at the end of the day as the builder, for the setback being farther than it should have been.
Yes, Jim.
Thank you, Anthony. Hi, Matteo. Matteo and I are familiar with Soulard business over the years. Thank you for meeting with us today. I don't see anything in our packet from any neighborhood organization. Do you have anything that you could submit?
No, we don't have the letters per se. It was just a meeting out with them last month and what they would like to see. I don't know if I don't think they sent a letter officially. The conditions they asked was just the wrought iron fence landscaping for this particular variance. So I don't believe a letter was sent in that regard.
Okay, and to clarify, so basically the whole layout of the house is what, maybe 5 to 7 feet back farther than what it should have been?
Correct.
So the footprint of the house is exactly what you had intended. It's just farther back.
Yeah, it's farther back than what the plans that was approved.
Okay.
The interior. Sorry, go ahead.
I thought you were through. Please continue.
Yeah, the interior, and I think we actually added that to the addendum as well. The interior, there were some changes in the interior that we did, but I believe this one was just really for the setback. This variance was for the setback.
Okay. Have you approached Alderman Cox Antwi to get her reaction or support?
No, we've not.
Okay, I think I understand the situation pretty well, Anthony. That's all the questions I have at the moment.
Any other board members have any questions? So, Mayo, how far exactly is the building setback beyond what was submitted?
It was an extra 8 feet. Andy, correct me if I'm wrong. I think it was like around 7 or 8 feet.
So
I just put it up here.
the plan that was submitted in the addendum puts the setback at 19 feet for the closer house. There's one at 19 foot 8 inches as well. And then this email that I received from the Cultural Resource Office, who has purview over historic districts in the city, they identified that the old permit, because I did not have access to that plan, that the old permit was initially planned for a 5-foot setback. But I would also note that initial call out for a 5-foot setback may be incorrect because the neighboring homes are also at a 5-foot setback, but in the new addendum plans, those are at 8. So
8 feet.
Yeah, it depends on what I think the pictures are probably the most telling thing that are included in that email. I don't have a good estimation of what that actually is, but it appears to look more like 19 to 20 feet rather than 10 to 12 feet.
Okay. Any other board members have any questions? Yes, Joe.
Mayo, if you can, what's your reaction if, can you get a letter from the neighborhood organization, from Lafayette Square folks to support what you're saying?
Yes, I can reach out and get the letter that states the conditions of what they would like to see, the conditions of which are all accepted, and then push back on any of them. So I can get one to state what they would like to see and I don't know if that would serve as a letter of support, maybe a letter of support with a condition of doing a particular amount of things.
Yeah. I don't know if we should give him too much leading what we would want, but personally, I would like to see something in writing, Anthony. Okay.
Agreed. Any other board members? Thank you, Maya.
Thanks.
Is there anyone here to testify in favor of this appeal? Okay, is there anyone here to testify in opposition to this appeal? Hearing none, I will read into the record exhibits. Certified copy of the zoning ordinance, appeal to the board, basis of denial, meeting notice letter, City Journal public notices, photographs, Sanborn maps, and a memo from Planning and Urban Design. With that, I will consider this appeal having been heard. Drea, will you please read appeal number 20640?
Appeal number 0640, 900 Pestalozzi Street.
Do you swear or affirm the testimony you give today will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Great.
Good afternoon, board members. My name is Andy Powers, zoning plan examiner for the city of St. Louis, representing the building commissioner. I'm here to present evidence of an appeal to install a roof sign illuminated per plans at 900 Pestalozzi Street. I'd like to present as evidence for this case photos and aerials of the property, plans for the project, and a certified copy of the City of St. Louis zoning ordinance. The basis of denial of a building permit concerning the building commissioner's refusal to issue a permit authorizing the appellant to build at 900 Pestalozzi Street, St. Louis, Missouri 63118 in City Block 883.00 is as follows. The present zoning for this address is K Unrestricted District. The intent of the applicable zoning provisions are to fix the reasonable standards to which buildings and structures shall conform. The applicable zoning code provisions are as follows. 26.68.110, letter E, number 3, signs in zoning districts J and K. E, permitted maximum height. 3, roof signs, including the supporting structures, 50% of the building height upon which they are erected, but a maximum of 35 feet above the roof line or parapet wall if it is higher than the roof line. Further, there must be a clear space of no less than 4 feet between the lowest part of the sign and the roof level, except for any structural support if the sign is over 100 square feet in size. If such clearance is necessary, said sign cannot exceed 39 feet above the roof line or parapet wall. If sign is less than 100 square feet, no such clearance is necessary. 26.68 .110 letter G, signs in zone districts J and K. G, permitted illumination may be illuminated but shall not flash, blink, fade, scroll, or fluctuate, and shall be illuminated by a concealed or exposed light source. In summary, the applicant has applied to construct an illuminated and animated roof sign. Roof signs are limited to 35 feet above the roof line or parapet wall of the building, including any support structure. However, roof signs in excess of 100 square feet may build up to 39 feet above the parapet to accommodate necessary ground clearance. The proposed sign is 51 feet above the parapet. Illuminated signs shall not flash, blink, scroll, or fade or fluctuate. 2 area variances. As clarification, this sign is this is an animated sign with, I believe, 5 stages of animation. 2 area variances are required for consideration, 1 for sign height and 1 for illumination. Finally, the Planning and Urban Design Agency for the City of St. Louis has written a memorandum regarding this appeal. In the regular course of business, the Board of Adjustment periodically hears appeals related to signage regulations. In general, the adopted elements of the comprehensive plan of the City of St. Louis, including the strategic land use plan and neighborhood plans, do not address signage and have no recommendation. Thus, staff at the Planning and Urban Design Agency elects not to make a finding for signage variances unless special circumstances or site conditions warrant attention. In review of Appeal 20640, Planning and Urban Design staff have determined that the special circumstances in which would warrant further scrutiny of the proposed signage have not been met. Therefore, no finding of conformity within the adopted plans has been made. Are there any questions for me from the board?
I'd like to get clarification, Andy, maybe hear it a second time. So we're looking for 2 area variances, 1 for the sign height, which I heard was 51 feet above the parapet when it could be 39.
Correct.
And the mere fact that it's illuminated, it doesn't matter what, it's nothing that it's at night or is moving.
So the illumination is permitted regardless of time of day. But it's the fact that it's animated is
animated.
Not. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Any other board members have any questions? Okay, let's hear from the appellant. Mr. Phillips, let's get you sworn in.
Please raise your. Do you swear or affirm the testimony you give today will be the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth?
Yes, ma'am.
Great, we may begin.
All right, I'm Joe Phillips with Pyro Signs Incorporated, 1818 Old State Road M, Barnhart, Missouri, 63012.
Proceed.
All right. Well, I am here representing AB on this site. What we have presented to the board, which I'm sure you all have seen the drawings on, is a new sign, new to St. Louis sign that will be coming to the Anheuser-Busch complex. The sign itself is, I would say, an antique sign that we have removed from the Newark, New Jersey facility. It was a landmark in Newark. They were a bit upset when it came down, but it had to at that point once the facility was shut down and sold. So we are proposing to install this sign basically in the center of the brewery complex. The sign itself is the sister sign and the second of 2 signs similar to what we have on Highway 40, Interstate 64 at the moment. This sign here is similar in size. The big difference between this sign and the one on Interstate 40 is this sign is double-sided and will actually spin in a 360-degree motion. So the sign actually rotates the entire time that it is going and on. And this allows the sign to have visibility basically from all four elevations, all four directions. The sign itself mirrors the sign along Interstate 40 in its I guess capacity. Basically, it's nothing new for the city at this point. Once you've driven by Interstate 40 and you've seen the sign there along, I guess it's along Grand or Market right there, whatever the street is. I lost the name of the street. We did go through before we even applied for a permit, and we had meetings with the alderwoman as well as the neighborhood commission, the Soulard CID, and the Mardi Gras Foundation to receive their support to make sure that they were on board even prior to submitting plans to the city for this project. It's my opinion that the sign itself is going to become what's going to be looked at as a new landmark there in the city. You know, we're installing a new landmark on an existing landmark, which is Anheuser-Busch. The sign itself should really not give any type of illumination issues for the neighborhood. We did lighting studies prior to I guess applying for the sign. The lighting along Soulard itself is already greater than the lighting along the same distances from the sign that's already installed along Interstate 40. So the sign height as well should cast no type of lighting issues for the neighborhood district. They had no issues, did not see any issues with it from our meetings as well. They were excited about the fact that the sign was basically coming home, and it's going to be in their neighborhood. They did ask that the sign remain neon. So that was one of their calls on for them as far as leaving the integrity of the sign as close to historical as we could, which what we are doing on the refurbishing of the sign. We are about 6 months into the refurbishing of the sign itself, just alone in our shop, just to try to bring it back to life and make it look as new and vibrant as possible. The sign itself will extend above the parapet roof. That is basically for the visibility of the sign from all elevations when you're down on the ground, even within Soulard, but as well as out on the street along the Interstate 55 or any of the other neighboring streets. Basically, we are changing nothing structural wise about the sign and from its historical nature. We are just trying to get the sign put up in St. Louis. We'll have both now in the city. So we'll own both of them basically as the city. And honestly, we're excited about the project and what it's going to bring to Soulard.
Yes, Mary.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This question is for Mr. Phillips. You said that the lighting from the sign is not any brighter than what currently exists in Soulard. Can you give us some indication, like, does the light shine 100 feet away, 500 feet away?
Well, basically what I did is I went to the sign along Interstate 40, which has a similar sign, similar size, similar function, but it also has the illuminated Budweiser letters underneath it, as well as the LED illuminated billboard flag that is out there. So there's a lot more light that exerts from the sign along Interstate 40. And I went certain distances away from that sign. So the spectacular board now on Market, I went 250 feet from the sign and did my first lighting measurement to see what was posted. And that was an area that was dark. So no street lights along the highway, no nothing right through there. And I took a foot candles measurement from that spot. I also did it from 550 feet, 870 feet, and 1,400 feet away. I did the same thing within the Soulard neighborhood, going the same distances or even further away from what I had there. at 870 feet along Market, I had a 0.17 foot candles from the existing spectacular board. I went 820 feet into Soulard, so closer to where the sign would be, and it was already at 2.20 foot candles. So it is at, almost, I would say almost 15 times greater light wise already within Soulard. And most of that is going to be based upon the lighting that's put around the Anheuser-Busch complex, but also the street lighting that is posted throughout Soulard that they already have along their streets. So there's already quite a bit more light output along Soulard and along their neighborhood streets than there was even from a closer distance to the existing spectacular board.
So two things. I just want to make sure the board is not confused. The sign that you keep talking about along 6440, that's not
Yes.
an on-premise sign, that's a billboard. And billboards are treated differently in the city. This is an on-premise sign. And what I'm wondering is if you can give us some idea, because this thing spins around and light emits from it, how will that impact like residential structures that are close to the brewery? Will they see a shadow coming through their backyard? I don't know. I'm not the sign expert here, so I'm just trying to figure that out.
Basically, at the height of the sign for where it's installed on top of 900 Pestalozzi, as well as the existing ground lighting, I would say 99 out of 100 people would have never even notice that the sign is illuminated. And that's just going to be based upon the light isn't going to necessarily want to shine down towards any residential. It's going to basically be shining outward. As I said, the lighting they already have is going to be greater than anything that is this sign will ever omit. Basically, I should be able to go through, once the sign is installed and fully lit and functional, I should be able to go through the same exact neighborhoods and see no change in their existing lighting compared to before the sign and after the sign. So nobody, go ahead.
Sure. Thank you. Is it fair to say then that the sign lights up the sky more than it lights up the ground?
Absolutely. We were actually shocked when the airport asked us to put a beacon on the top of the sign, just because the sign light itself is going to be, it's going to be lit enough, at that point to, I guess, if a small airplane is that low already, they're already in trouble. So,
yeah, I mean, maybe that's because I think that's in the flight path of smaller aircraft going over to Scott Air Force. I live 3 blocks from this, and those planes go over my backyard all the time.
Correct. So. Correct. And it's mainly for the small ones over at Parks, over at that small airport over there. As I said, it's going to light the sky up a lot. Well, it's not going to light up the ground from that height at all.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Joe.
Thank you, Mr. Phillips. One question I have is the alderwoman, Jamie Ann Cox Antry, wrote in her note, "My office has seen the plans to mitigate neighborhood impact." Does that imply that she was supply some kind of report about the light impact, or what does she mean by the plans to mitigate neighborhood impact? Do you know what she might be referring to there?
Well, I guess during our meeting with her, we went through lighting numbers of, I guess, the same lighting numbers I've discussed with you all, based on, I guess, the light emissions that is already within the neighborhood now, compared to other things that are around. It's to say mainly the spectacular board, even though it is off premise and it is considered a billboard. Just that the light difference that is emitted from the billboard compared to the on-premise sign, it's greater. I guess the light output is already greater. So we've basically assured her, as well as the neighborhood commission, that they should see no lighting differences whatsoever. And I'll be honest, really, nobody really even seemed to have any concerns during our meetings with any of them over that point. So just based on a lot of, go ahead.
When you met with those folks, was it just the heads of those? Because you mentioned the SID, Terry Hoffman, you mentioned MGI, Tim Lorson, and you mentioned, Matt Bradley probably, and then you mentioned SRG, which you have letters from all three of those. Did you just meet with the heads of those organizations, or was the neighborhood widely invited to this meeting?
We met with the heads, and then the heads took our discussions back to their meetings that they held within, I think the neighborhood commission meeting was, believe that same week or the following week. And so before they would write us a letter of acceptance, a letter of support, they had their meetings with the neighborhood prior to issuing those letters. So in my regard, they did their due diligence long before they would give us any type of support letter.
Okay. That's helpful. Thank you very much.
Joe, I have a question.
Yeah.
This is a historic site. This isn't something they just built, correct?
No, sir. It's been installed in New Jersey for decades. As I said, it's taken us close to 6 months just to rehab the sign and try to bring it back to its original position. So this sign is not brand new built. We shipped it in on 4 tractor trailers from New Jersey, and we've been working on it ever since.
Okay, so that's why I want to make sure it's historic sign. It's not something that we just fabricate it and put up there. It's a historic piece of property.
Absolutely, sir. Absolutely.
All right, thank you.
And I forgot to ask, what are the hours you want to operate? Is it 24/7?
Yes, sir. This sign will go 24/7, similar to the spectacular board, the billboard.
Yes, Ann.
So the sign on Highway 40 spent quite a bit of time in disrepair, and then it came back, was there a long time, and then it went out for a long time, and it came back. If you're approved and you end up putting the new sign up there, the historic sign, if something should happen to it, will there be a quick turnaround in terms of repair?
Yes, the sign along Highway 40, that was an anomaly. That was based on when the city had the blackout, I guess. I'll call it a small blackout, where they lost power in a large section, several blocks around that original sign. Somebody went through during that time of no power and stole all of the electric. So they went through and they raided all of the copper. They ripped it out of the ground. They did everything that they could to destroy that. So it took us months. And I know it was out for a long time, but it took us months to repair that. And then it was vandalized a second time after that. And then St. Louis U as well as AB made a lot of, concessions to secure that facility a lot more to where that will not happen. Everything for this new sign will be confined to that building owned by Anheuser-Busch. So the chances of that ever happening is almost eliminated, but there will be a platform basically for servicing the sign built there as well. That is a part of this sign project to make sure that when signage does go out, when outages do happen, we can get there and start repairing quickly.
Right. But it would be pretty tough for somebody to get up that high and get that sign that you're proposing.
Correct. Yeah. I mean, the electric will all be confined into the Anheuser-Busch building, into the 900 Pestalozzi building. The electric for the other site, they were able to get into that building since it's vacant and unsecured, at that point unsecured, and they were able to do their vandalism and damage.
Sure. Okay. Thank you.
Any of the board members have any questions? Thank you, Mr. Phillips.
Thank you.
Is there anyone here to testify in favor of this appeal? Mr. Hamilton, let's get you sworn in.
Please raise your right hand.
Okay.
Do you swear or affirm the testimony you give today will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Great, maybe.
Okay. You can
Thank
state
you.
your name and mailing
Sure.
address for the record.
My name is Lewis Hamilton. I live at number 1 Cardinal Way, St. Louis 63102, and I'm speaking excuse me, I'm a registered lobbyist with Anheuser-Busch as my client, representing their interests in the city. I've been involved in this project since the very beginning when the decision was made by Anheuser-Busch Corporate to move the sign back into St. Louis. The first thing we did was meet with the current alderman and the neighborhood representatives to explain what it is we had in mind, answer the questions. To board member Dallas's question, there was no plan that was handed off to the alderman. It was just as Mr. Phillips said, it was a recitation of the preliminary work that they had done to measure, what kind of impact it might have on the neighborhood from a lighting standpoint and so on. But we cleared all of that out, did everything we could in advance to answer questions, make sure that there was no real concern in the neighborhood about this. And if there were, we would have addressed it. So we've been very pleased by the amount of support and enthusiasm from those association leaders who as Joe said, did take it back to their members and let them know what was going on. So we kind of want this to be a surprise when it's unveiled, but you can't keep a surprise that well when you have to tell everybody in the neighborhood what you're doing.
Any board members have any questions? Thank you, Mr. Hamilton. Is there anyone else here to testify in favor of this appeal? Okay. Is there anyone here to testify in opposition to this appeal? Hearing none, I will read into the record exhibits, certified copy of the zoning ordinance, appeal to the board, basis of denial, meeting notice letter, city journal public notices, photographs, Sanborn maps, memo from planning and urban design, an owner's statement for building permit issued with zoning hold, letter of support from Alderwoman Jamie Cox Antwi, letter of support from Terry Hoffman, Chair, Subag Community Improvement District, a letter of support from April Flores, SRG President, and a letter of support from Mac A. Bradley, President, Mardi Gras Foundation. And with that, I will consider this appeal having been heard. With that, that concludes the testimonial portion of our hearing. We will now go into deliberations. Thank you, Devin, for your service.
Take care, guys. Have a good day.
Thanks.
See you.
Bye.
Board, do we need a 5-minute recess, so shall we consider?
Please.
5
minutes,
minutes.
please.
It's 3:49. We will come back at 3:54. Okay. Uh, let's start with appeal number 20637, 5353 Wilson Avenue.
I'll go ahead and move that we accept the two variances requested.
Ann,
Yes.
are you?
Second.
Okay. Motion made by Jim, seconded by Ann. All of those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Findings?
Will not be a detriment.
Thanks, Jim.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, appeal number 20638, 5203 Windsor Parkway.
That garage has been there for, I mean, the repair shop's been there for years, and cars have always been a problem with what's there. I mean, I some of the neighbors being upset to this thing, but like everything else, there were no deed restrictions put on the property when they bought it. If they had done that, there'd be different. And I understand that, you don't want, it's your home and everything, but once you sold it, you kind of gave up the rights to what you want done with it.
Mary, whoever makes up, and maybe anybody on this board can answer, whoever makes up the striping plan knows what the limitations are based on the size of the space, and eventually has to be approved by, I think, by the zoning administrator, right?
So if the board chooses to approve this and put that condition on there, then, if they don't know what the appropriate layout is of a parking lot, sure, they can call us and we can direct them to the section of the code that will tell them how wide the parking spaces are, how long the parking spaces can be. If there's a drive aisle, it'll tell them how wide the drive aisle has to be. But we would first have to see that plan. And of course, the board would have to put that condition on there.
Okay. Would a potential condition be that it has to be one deep in each spot? I'm afraid that they would, maybe that lot or that pad is deep enough to hold two cars back to back. I would
So
make sure that we didn't have that.
Currently, the zoning code doesn't allow for what you're describing. That's called tandem parking. If you're talking about parking a car behind a car, so they wouldn't be allowed to do that. In my opinion, that is the good thing about requiring the parking plan, is that you make sure they park the right amount of vehicles on there that have direct egress or direct access, I guess, off of the alley onto the parking lot. If you have a bunch of cars parked in their tandem, it could start to create some problems.
And they'd have to at least keep one spot for the remaining residents, correct?
You could put they do need one spot for the residential, since they testified they intend to use that house as residential purposes. And you could put a condition on there requiring them to, sign one spot for the residential unit. Sorry.
And didn't they? Go ahead.
I'm sorry.
Go ahead, Anthony.
No, I was going to say my concern was that they actually had 40 feet. And so I believe, given that they had 40 feet and there's just no reason for a 40-foot parking pad other than to potentially try and put cars in tandem. Short of that, there'd be no no reason other than to have, a short apron and 20 feet. Honestly, so they've doubled really what they would need. So I think it's important that that striping, should the board decide to grant this, striping be added.
I think adding the striping also gives the neighbors the ability to kind of control if they don't overflow the lot. And if they do, they could be, bring them back to us and answer for why they, why do you have twice as many cars on a lot that is striped for?
Yeah.
So I guess I'll make the motion to approve with the condition that the light be striped and they submit that plan to the building commissioner or the building division, and it be approved, and that one spot be dedicated for the remaining residents that's there, and they do not park the campers. I think they said about campers, didn't they? Anyway,
Would it be better to say that the parking is limited to vehicles only?
you knew exactly what I was going to say. Yes.
And Mel, just to be clear, on your first condition, do you want the parking and the striping of the parking area? Do you want that condition to be worded just as I read it? And I'm happy to read it for you again.
No, I wanted just the way you'd read it, where it's the way it is.
Okay, thank you.
That's my motion.
Should we further condition that it's the cars are supposed to be only employees and or the two loaner cars that they own?
Yes, for employees are the courtesy cars.
And Mary,
Sorry, I froze up a little. I'm sorry, I froze up a little bit, and I'll tell you what I think I got. That the parking is supposed to be limited to employees' cars only, and I missed the rest of it.
And their courtesy cars.
And the two courtesy cars are.
Well, they may get more just the courtesy cars.
At least one spot for the resident at the building,
right?
And then employees only, and the two courtesy cars.
Okay.
And should we specify that it cannot be tandem, or is that just going to come out?
That'll be taken care of with the.
Okay.
I think it's helpful to specify it, even though
it's just like when you guys put the condition on there about they have to get a sign permit. That's a given. But if you think it's more clear and you want to put it on there, I don't think there's anything wrong with that.
Okay. No tandem parking.
Okay. Thank you.
That's my motion.
Thank you.
I will second.
Motion made by Mel, seconded by Jim. All of those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Findings, Mel?
Won't be an asset, so it won't be a detriment as conditioned.
Thank you.
I mean, I live in the neighborhood, so I got to deal with it too. So
you'll be the first one to report them. Huh?
Oh, you better believe it. I live 4 blocks away.
Okay. Appeal number 20639, 1411 Dolman Street.
Well, I think everybody could see where I was going with this. I would move that we table for 90 days to give Mr. Ayalakan a chance to meet with the neighborhood and get some written support from the neighborhood.
I would second that.
I would like to see the appellant meet with the neighborhood, get written support from the neighborhood, neighbors on the block, the alderperson, and cultural resources.
I am here, by the way, if you have any questions. Sorry to interrupt. Bob Bettis with Cultural Resources. I'm here. I didn't speak during the meeting. I apologize before, but I'm here if you have any questions for me. I've been dealing with this for months. So if anything I can help answer, I'm here to answer questions. Sorry, Mia.
And I've been driving by it for months, wondering what the heck was going on.
I was just gonna ask Mary, because this is an amendment, right? So they already previously went through this process. Were letters of support from the neighborhood previously submitted?
So they wouldn't have had a Board of Adjustment hearing because it was compliant.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Thanks, Andy.
they were in compliance originally. They are not in compliance as built, and quite honestly, I personally have a real problem with that. I have been building houses.
I do have a question for Bob.
Hi.
Going along the line of where I think Mr. Robinson is going. So if they poured the foundation and it didn't meet the measurement that was approved, I remember an exact example of that in Soulard, where Cultural Resources forced them to tear the basement out of the ground and fix it. Jim, you might remember this. It was just around the corner from your house. Maybe you weren't there yet when the new construction went on across from the park there. So I guess what I'm concerned, are we being asked to grant a variance to correct a mistake that was made by the contractor?
If it was a mistake.
If it was a mistake, that is what we are being asked to do. And I just cannot imagine. Again, I've been building houses for 25 years. We have never been 13, 14 feet off. That's not a mistake. That's deliberate. A mistake might be a foot off, might be 6 inches off. You are absolutely not. I've never seen a situation like that. And prior to building on my own, I worked for a developer who built dozens of houses. We've never had that. I've never seen this.
I have to agree. I mean, you can see, oh, guess what? We're 6 inches off because I measured wrong or whatever. But when you're this far off, that almost sounds like ask for forgiveness type mistake.
Yeah, that's not a mistake. That's
no, I'm saying it's an ask for forgiveness. Let's do it this way. We'll just ask for forgiveness.
Right. Yeah.
I have a problem with
I'm open to the appellant attempting to get all of those that I mentioned support. I know that's not going to happen, but to give them the opportunity, I'm open to that. By the same token, being a commissioner on the Historic Preservation Board, I'm telling you this, he needs to correct it.
Yeah, and that was my when he applied for the addendum. I'm sorry.
You cannot give testimony.
I'm not. Oh, I'm not. Okay, I'm sorry. Can I give?
You can answer questions like that.
You could answer any question that someone might have, but you
understood. I'm not trying to sway. I'm just giving you background, so I understand. I won't say anything else.
So, Mary, our option here. Let me just make sure we can either like Jim wants to do, table it, which I don't have a problem with, or we can uphold the building commissioner's decision, and then what does that force him to do?
So I believe that if you uphold the building commissioner's decision, there's twofold. Either he corrects the problem or he goes to circuit court.
Issue twice, build once.
If, yeah, again, my experience says that someone decided to build something that was not according to plans, which you just can't do.
Yeah.
I think everyone on the board understands how you could be a few inches off, maybe in a larger plot of land a foot off.
Yeah.
But you're not going to be 13 or 14 feet off of the building line.
So we got a
That's
motion.
not a mistake, it's deliberate.
So we got Jim.
So was Mel seconded my initial motion?
Right
Yeah.
now, we have a motion on the floor made by Mr. Dallas and seconded by Mr. DeSimone. The board
Yes.
can either vote on that motion or Mr. Dallas can withdraw his motion and the board can consider a different motion.
Does Mel have to withdraw his second before I withdraw my motion?
Do you want me to read? Jim, you want to change? I mean,
Well, I'm just asking the question. If
I mean,
were to,
I'll work with you if you want that. I don't have a problem letting him go to these people spending this time going around and getting what he wants to get done. I don't have a problem with that. But in the same respect, like Anthony said, they're not going to go along with it. Let him spin his wheels. Let him spend some time. But because I'm still not going to. And I don't want to give this to the courts to decide. I'd rather keep it in-house. So tabling it would keep it with us, right, Mary?
Yes, for the time being.
we're gonna drag it out, sure. All right, I'll withdraw my motion.
No, I'm saying if you're going to keep your motion to table it for up to 90 days, let him go ahead and see if he can get the, if not, then like you said, we're going to deny it and it's going to end up in the hands of the courts rather than giving us a chance to say no,
Just to be clear, so everybody understands, if you table it for 90 days, you're not giving it up to the court. It's still in your jurisdiction.
Right.
After the 90 days, when they come back to you, then if you make a decision, that would be the point that they would be able to appeal to the circuit court if they didn't like the decision.
I mean, give him the chance to go. If he wants to spin his wheels and get the, see if he can get the people behind him, give it to him.
Yeah, so I think, go ahead, Jim.
We've got two varying opinions, and I guess
no. I think the motion was made
to table
by you and seconded by Mel. The only thing that I added was that I would like to see the appellant get, would like to see a letter of support from the alderman, from the neighborhood association, the neighbors on the block, and from Cultural Resources Office.
Yep.
Let me repeat the motion since I had a few minutes ago rescinded it. I move that we table for up to 90 days to give the appellant a chance to meet with the neighborhood association, the immediate neighbors, with the alderman. Was there
cultural resources.
Cultural resources.
And I'll second that.
Motion made by Jim, seconded by Mel. All of those in favor?
Aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carries.
Can I ask a clarifying question, or is it not allowed?
Yes.
Sorry, Mary. I'm not trying to step on your toe. When you say zero, do you mean the preservation board weighs in, or do you mean my office weighs in? Because Pres board again, this is where it gets off track in terms of who thinks who has what jurisdiction. And so I'm just curious, when you say that, I want to make sure I get you what you want. Let's put it that way.
I think that the preservation board should weigh in. I think that this, given what has happened, should go to the preservation board.
I'd be August, just so you know, guys.
We've got up to 90 days.
Just
Don't worry, we can't even get it back on a Board of Adjustment agenda for 90 days. So we're so backed up.
No, it's cool. I just want you to, full disclosure, it'll be at least August before it's heard again.
So then, in light of that, for the motion, we will list the preservation board as opposed to CRO.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I'll go along with that. Jim, is that okay?
Yes, it is.
Do your motion. That's fine. Annie, okay?
Yes. Yes.
Deanna? Yeah.
So everybody's okay with preservation board in lieu of cultural resources office?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Appeal number 20640, 900 Pestalozzi Street.
I move that
Go ahead.
we accept. I move that we accept the sign as proposed. I think it'll be a welcome addition. It has historic value, and it will improve St. Louis. I move that we accept it.
Yeah.
As proposed.
Jim, you live down there. You want to second? You want me to?
I'll go ahead and second. Thank you.
And Pyro Sciences, they do such a good job, so I'm not worried about them doing a proper job.
Mary, can I say something really quick? Mary, this was supposed to come through our office, and we were not on the route. It's a city landmark, and we were not on the route. Yeah.
Do me a favor, Bob, from now on, while we're in hearings,
Well, when there's a technical difficulty like that, I guess I'm looking at my attorney like, this was not a zoning only, correct? It was a full route.
That is correct.
Sorry to throw that monkey wrench in the. I'll leave that with you guys.
I wonder how that happened.
Because it's the new system's horrible. I mean, to be honest,
How you really feel, Bob?
I'm honest, and that's why I'm saying it out loud. The new system is messing up.
Still not as bad as the paper system, in my opinion. So
for Jim Dallas, I mean, he should know. Like, this is in his neighborhood, even though it's not in the Steeler local district, it's still a city landmark within your neighborhood. So there's supposed to be other considerations placed on it. So just FYI.
Right.
It's not in the Soulard Historic District.
It's not, but it's still in your neighborhood, and it's still a landmark. So,
sure.
You know, I'm sure you as the neighborhood want that considered on a historic basis. So that's all. Happy to.
But wait a minute, is it on the AV campus?
It is. It's on one of the brew house buildings, and that's a city landmark.
Yeah. So Bob can correct me if I'm wrong, but it's my understanding of cultural resources is they do have the right to review projects that are designated as a landmark. Is that the correct designation? Yes. So you don't always have to be in a historic district for cultural resources not to have a say.
We have purview on city landmarks. That's correct.
Yeah.
But what's the camp? Is the campus in the, is it? I don't know.
Mia?
Yes. Is that a question? I mean,
I'd still say it's.
Bob?
We can say it's air from building division and say la vie. I mean, that goes.
I mean, it's still gonna enhance. I'm still gonna say go for it.
the reason I was going to say, like, I mean, Bob, you were present at the hearing.
You didn't say anything.
I don't know. Well, here's the deal, guys. This is my first time ever joining this fun little group, and I have no idea what level of protocol I have to jump in and say, hey, there's a screw up here, and now we're getting down, you guys are going to vote on it. I think it should be clear that there was a mistake in the routing. I apologize for not jumping in midstream, but I'm not sure, again, when I was supposed to do that. And I just found out this was on it when I looked at the agenda before the Dolman project. So forgive me for not, jumping in at that point.
But the problem being is we're taking testimony about something, aren't we, Mary?
Question.
Yeah.
There's a guy on here, Adam Kasler. He seemed to have some information or input.
You're in deliberations. You can't take any additional testimony. I'm sorry. Yeah.
And the reason why I brought that up, Bob, was not necessarily like to say you did something wrong, but procedurally, like you closed the record already, and there's a procedurally we have an issue. So I guess if a board member wants to open it back up, make a motion to open it back up so that we can accept additional testimony or evidence from Cultural Resource, then I guess that is a solution.
But we don't have a court reporter.
No, we couldn't do that.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. It's to me, it's just not a big issue.
I would never advise the board to knowingly approve or disapprove of something if you do not believe that it has followed the appropriate city procedures. And mostly that is because if zoning was not routed on a permit and we were supposed to look at that, I would not want another board to go over our head. So I'm just going to offer that on the record for the board.
Can you look at the map? And is everything in there part of the historic district on the campus, or was it excluded? Anheuser-Busch.
Anheuser-Busch, as I understand it, is not within the boundaries of the Soulard Historic District, but there are buildings within the complex or on the campus that do fall under cultural resources review. And these are, I'm sorry, I'm blanking on what the terminology is, Bob. Historic review properties, is that what you call it?
They're city landmarks.
City landmarks. Yes, thank you so much. These city landmarks, Mel, they are peppered all throughout the city, and they may not necessarily be in a historic district, but because they have historic significance, they've been designated landmarks, and then Cultural Resources does have the right of review. I'm actually trying to find the permit right now to figure out why it was. I don't know if I can figure out, but I just wanted to look at it to see.
Mary, you have to search it under the permit view. It's no longer under the application view because they got the waiver.
Oh, okay.
So
Thank you. Yeah. That's why it's not coming up.
So is our option at this point, after Mary does her little search there, to withdraw the motion and potentially defer until Cultural Resources has had a chance to review? Is that what the issue is?
You would need another motion to reopen it to that. So you withdraw the motion that you just made to accept it. And then you will have to do another motion to reopen this case because it was closed by the chairman.
Yeah, which we
don't have a court report.
But we can't reopen it
we
because
don't have a court reporter, and so the only thing we could.
So I feel like the only thing they can do is withdraw the motion and then make a new motion to table it so that we can see how this gets routed to Cultural Resources.
I think it's a waste of time.
So I don't disagree, Mel. But the issue would be if something like this happened and did not make it through us and something got approved that we would not have approved. And this sets a really bad precedent for that. I would vote for it.
Me too.
Save for the fact that it did not. I think it creates a really bad precedent.
Can you condition your approval on me approving my end if it comes through? Can you condition your approval on me?
Okay, here, can we do that? Can we say it's approved?
And that won't be considered accepting new evidence, Mia? I just want to make sure they don't do anything appropriate. If Bob's gonna submit something new to the board, does that need to be done in a public hearing?
Well, technically, he wouldn't be submitting it to the board. He would be submitting it to the applicant if we phrase it that way, contingent on the applicant receiving cultural resource approval. And so if cultural resource denies it, then
it would have to come back.
Okay, so Bob, if you can get added to the route and then you go into the route and you put your approval there, then nothing new needs to come back to the board. So then the board wouldn't need to bring this back.
Be kind of like the striping, we approved it pending them submitting the lot being striped. So we would approve this pending cultural resources approving it.
I just added my
I'm sorry, I didn't make myself clear. My question was directed towards Mia because my interest is making sure that the board does not make a decision that will cause us to, have a technicality flaw in what we're doing. So what I want to make sure of is that if the board approves this with a condition that cultural resources should be added to the route, that's enough. We add them to the route, we let them do their thing.
I wouldn't phrase it that way.
Okay.
Because adding them to the route is what needs to be done, like for all applications moving forward. So that's an IT, statement a correction that we can make. Right. But for this appeal, I would just say, Mel was just saying, we have added conditions in the past that says it's contingent on them receiving approval from zoning staff. So it's approved, contingent that they receive cultural resources approval for their design.
Jim, you want to add that to your motion?
So what that means, just so everybody is clear in the process, is this will remain on hold until such time that Bob's been added to the route, had the opportunity to review it, and then enters his results of his review into the system.
But it doesn't have to come back to us. Once he does that, it just moves forward. Right?
It's sounding like the way we're making the motion that it won't have, unless of course he does, but it still won't come back to us. If they don't get approval from cultural resources, then they'd have to go through cultural resources process of appeal.
Correct.
Okay, I'm clear.
All right.
So
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
So I think we have to get a withdrawal of the motion and the second, and then restate or remake a motion.
Okay, so, all right. And I'm required to withdraw my initial so that we can do contingent upon the approval of cultural resources.
Or could you just add it to it?
You could add it.
Just
okay.
There was a motion made and a second, and a vote was taken, correct?
No, the vote was not taken.
The vote was not taken. Okay.
So you could just add it.
Okay.
In the way.
I'd like to add the condition that this approval is contingent upon approval by the Cultural Resources Office. Was that too much?
No. I got it.
Got it.
Okay.
Okay.
And before I take that, Andy has his hand up.
Yeah. So Trey brought up a good point about this permit is already issued because they have the waiver. Typically, in the procedure, this permit wouldn't be issued if Cultural Resource had not approved it. So I think what'll happen is Cultural Resource, it will go under review for Cultural Resources, and it'll have to be issued a stop work order, which we would have to coordinate with the building division and the inspectors to do. So I don't think that has to be added in any of the conditions.
I don't think that has to be in any of the conditions, and I'm not sure that we can't just add Cultural Resources as a route and not have the whole stop work order thing happen. I'll talk to the building commissioner about that.
Okay.
Okay. Motion made by Ann, seconded by Jim. All of those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Findings, Ann?
As I indicated earlier, I think it'll bring beauty to St. Louis, and the historic value it would add in that regard as well. I think it's a positive for St. Louis.
That would be an asset.
Yes.
Is that the finding?
Yes. Is that wrong, Mary?
No.
Just say it, Ann.
Technology is either it's an asset or it will not be a detriment. Bob, something that you may want to know is that I feel like this didn't show up on the route because when I go into DataFlex and I look at the special routes, it is not checked as a landmark.
I know. We had the past 3 days, CRO has been left off upwards of 15 permits in our jurisdiction. There's something wrong in the system right now. So landmarks themselves are being left off of the route. So the folks in charge of the website are aware of the issue and they're working on it.
And I have
So my point about that question or about that is that it's my understanding that the new system still feeds from whatever is in DataFlex. And what I'm saying is because there's not a Y where it says landmark, it will never show up. The route will never show up.
They're pulling it from new GIS data. They're pulling the stuff from new GIS data.
Which building is this going to
go there
go?
correctly either?
It's going to be on the brew house, right?
No. Which building is this going to go on?
It's 900 Pestalozzi. It's the really tall one. I think it has like a.
But is that the brew house? Is that one of the historic buildings?
I'm not sure.
Yes, it is. Again, I'm not saying we want to prove it, Mel. I'm saying I just need it to be part of the route, so we're doing this the correct way.
Okay, and I want clarification about something. The mention of the stop work order, wouldn't that cause an undue hardship, or does that still have to occur?
So there's nothing about the stop work order. It shouldn't have even come up. It has nothing to do with zoning at all. That is something that's issued by the building inspector. So that's all part of the building inspection section. That has nothing to do with zoning, and we have no jurisdiction when it comes to a stop work order.
Sorry for the confusion.
So basically, they can continue to do what they're doing. They just have to make one more stop, correct, Mary?
Yeah, they've just got to get a review by Cultural Resources. Yeah, or the Preservation Board or somebody over there.
One's Cultural Resources.
Cultural Resources.
But they can continue with the project.
Yes.
Yes.
Based on the motion.
Because I don't want to see the project held up because,
Right.
they got.
I doubt that anyone is going to go out there and order them to take this off of the roof right now.
It'd be kind of like that's why with the parking lot, the concrete was already poured. I didn't want to see you have to take the concrete up because it's just, I don't know.
I'm going to argue with you that we're not comparing comparable things. The parking lot and the sign on the roof are not the same thing. That is not an apples to apples comparison. The brewery is trying to put a historic sign on top of a building that advertises a product that is available on premise. That parking lot in the back of a residential unit, that's zone residential. It's never been used for any kind of auto related business before, but it will now.
Yeah.
My point, Mary, was I didn't want to stop the progress. That's all it was. So, okay. I'm done.
Okay. Meeting minutes.
Before we move on to meeting minutes, can we have a roll call for a closed session, please?
Yes, I did see that.
Thank you.
Sorry about that, Mary. Anne.
I'm here.
Deneen.
Here.
We need a yes or no.
Oh.
We're going into
yes.
closed session.
I'm sorry.
Thank you. Mel.
Yes.
Jim.
Yes.
Okay. We will, and that's a yes from the chair. We will go into closed session. Okay. Meeting minutes.
Mr. Chairman, we have two different sets of minutes that we're approving today, the June 10th and the June 24th. So we'll need a separate motion on both of those.
Yes.
I move that we accept the minutes from June 10th.
I'll second it.
Motion made by Ann, seconded by Mel. All of those in favor?
Aye.
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 Opposed? Meeting minutes accepted.
I looked at the ones from the 24th. I'll make a motion to accept those.
I'll second.
Motion made by Mel, seconded by Jim. All of those in favor?
Aye.
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 Opposed? Meeting minutes for June 24th accepted. Any new business, Mary?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman. So just a reminder to the board, next week on the 15th, that meeting is for all of the Board of Adjustment members, the permanent members and the alternate members. It will be held in person at City Hall in room 208, which is the Kennedy hearing room. Many of you that have joined the Board of Adjustment have never been to a Board of Adjustment meeting in the Kennedy hearing room. We used to meet in person there weekly until COVID. So a couple of things you should know about that room. It's on the second floor. It can be cold. So ladies, you may want to bring a sweater. I always do. So just so you know that. Anyone who's driving to City Hall, if you will please park in the parking lot off of Clark Street and bring your ticket in, we will be able to validate your ticket.
Is the Clark Street entrance to the City Hall open?
Pardon?
Is the doors on the Clark Street side entrance, is that open to get into?
It was open yesterday. I came with them. Yeah.
It's open sometimes.
Yeah, it's sporadic.
Okay. Then still park in that lot, but you may have to walk around to the market street.
Is the basement entrance advised because the BOA spots are right there? Or is that Board of Aldermen?
Board of Aldermen.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's Board of Aldermen. That's not for the Board of Adjustment. We wish we could give them parking spots on Washington Square, but I think the treasurer might frown on that.
And it's at 1 o'clock next Wednesday.
So it will start at 1:30. I think it says 1 o'clock because the Board of Aldermen secretary that's responsible for booking that room gave us a little extra time to get in there and get set up. We're going to have some light snacks for you guys. I think you've already received the agenda, but just to kind of recap what we will do is we will have an open session. The consulting team will be there and they will just give you all a little update on where they're at in the rewrite of the new zoning code. And then we will go into a closed session where primarily the consulting, the part of the consulting team known as the land use law experts, Mr. White, he will give a presentation on Board of Adjustment and how the Board of Adjustment should, how the Board of Adjustment should perform, how you should look at things under state law. And it'll be an opportunity to ask him a lot of questions and, about processes. And again, we'll be in a closed session, so you'll be able to ask those questions.
Okay, and all 7 board members have been invited and accepted?
Yes.
Fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Do we need to bring any?
Yes.
I'm sorry, Jim.
No, go ahead, Denise.
About how long might this meeting be?
So we have the room booked from 1 p.m. until 4. It may not take that long, but we wanted to be sure that, we had plenty of time if there's robust discussion.
Typically that Zoom presentation has taken 20 to 25 minutes for the consultants to do.
Awesome.
Oh, is it a public meeting? Can outsiders show up?
No.
Only the first part is a public meeting. And that's, so they won't be presenting what they'll be doing is presenting a similar presentation that they've been giving when they go out to the neighborhoods or we have little round tables. It's basically just to show you where we're at. We have some draft zoning districts. There's 20 of them and they're much different than what we have. We have some draft use tables and we have some draft development standards, and they'll kind of go through and tell you where they're at now. Everything is in draft. We're a long ways away from having anything adopted. So if you see something that alarms you, let them know, but don't be fearful that means it's set in stone, because nothing about the plan is set in stone yet. It's still very much in draft and we're still very much taking comment, and there's always going to be room for amendments.
Yep.
Okay. And that's all I have.
All right.
Okay. Can I get a motion to adjourn?
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Motion made by Mel, seconded by Jim. All those in favor?
Aye.
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 See y'all next week.
We stand adjourned.
Yep.
See you next
Thanks,
week.
everybody.
Everybody, have a good day.
Bye now.
Thank you.